times because everyone else in the group that was connected to the group, they were going through their own individual hard time also.
Sly Stone and his Sly and the Family Stone band was one of the most iconic funk groups, but their story was a sad one. From looking so confident and dapper-like in this Dick Cavett Show interview.
What you thought of the name, I assume.
You didn't let me answer, though.
No. You're going to answer that.
Yeah, my brother played.
To looking so worn out and resigned from drug use years later.
Sly, how are you, buddy?
I'm okay.
All right. It's good to see you.
Thanks.
Sly Stone and his band actually faced a lot of trouble and controversies throughout their time together, from financial issues to racial frictions, drug problems, and gang ties. Let's get into it. Sly Stone started a band called Sly and the Stoners in 1966. His friend, Cynthia Robinson, played the trumpet in the band. Around the same time, Sly's brother, Freddie, started his own band, Freddie and the Stone Souls.
I had a band at the Cow Palace. Well, every time shows came to the Cow Palace, as they do at the Forum or wherever, at that time, there were big bands that took care of all the music.
Band had Greg Errico on drums and Ronnie Crawford on saxophone. A friend of Sly, Jerry Martini, who played the saxophone, suggested that Sly and Freddie should join their bands together. They did this in November 1966 and named the new band Sly and the Family Stone.
Sly sitting at the helm, listening to all of this and hooking it all up, you know, from putting it all together to listen to this.
At first, they called the band Sly Brothers and Sisters, but after their first performance at a nightclub called Winchester Cathedral in Redwood City, California, they changed the name to Sly and the Family Stone. Sly and Freddie both played guitar, so Sly made Freddie the main guitarist. Sly then decided to learn how to play the electronic organ. Sly's sister, Valletta Stewart, wanted to join the band too. She had a gospel group with her friends, Mary McCreary and Elva Mouton. Their group was called the Heavenly Tones. Sly invited them to sing backup for the band. They became known as Little Sister and provided background vocals for Sly and the Family Stone. One night after playing at Winchester Cathedral, a music executive named David Kapralik saw them perform. He worked for CBS Records and signed the band to a record deal with Epic Records. In 1967, the band released their first album, A Whole New Thing. Some musicians like Mose Allison and Tony Bennett liked the album, but it did not sell well. Because of this, the band could only play in small clubs. The record company was not happy with the poor sales. Clive Davis, an important person at CBS Records, told Sly that he needed to make a song that more people would like. Sly and the band did not really want to, but they recorded a song called Dance to the Music. When it came out in February 1968, the song became a big hit. It reached #1, 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. This was the band's first song to become popular, and it helped them gain more attention. Around this time, Sly and Freddie invited their sister, Rose Stone, to join the band. She had been working at a record store and was unsure about joining at first. But just before Dance to the Music came out, she finally joined as a singer and keyboard player.
This was trying to destroy everything that had ever been good regarding Sly and the Family Stone.
Sly Stone was a great musician, but he made some bad choices. When he looked for someone to manage his career, he hired Hamp Bubba Banks and J.B. Brown. People said these men had connections to gangsters. They were supposed to help with business, but they did more than that. Some people said they got drugs for Sly. They also acted like bodyguards, making sure no one messed with him. This made things difficult for the band. Instead of focusing on music, they had to deal with problems caused by these men. At the same time, another group wanted to control the band. The Black Panther Party tried to change how the band worked. They believed Sly and the Family Stone should be more political. They wanted Sly to write songs about fighting for black rights. They also wanted him to remove the white members of the band. Greg Errico, and Jerry Martini and replaced them with black musicians. They thought the band needed a black manager too. Sly was already under a lot of pressure, and this made things worse. He had to choose between his own ideas and what others wanted. The different personalities and backgrounds caused fights.
There were all kinds of information, misinformation, breakups, go-ups, trade-ups.
Sure.
It was a dark thing. Nothing was together.
Fame brought problems. Drugs, ego, and violence started to take over the band. By 1972, things got really bad.
One thing about Bub, he's no and that is the truth.
Ken Roberts, the band manager, remembered that night too. Sly was so out of control that they had to carry him in a chair through the hotel lobby to get to the limousine. The hotel security thought Sly was dead because he was not moving. When they opened the door, the cold air hit Sly and he suddenly woke up. They put him in the car and went straight to the airport to fly to Los Angeles for their next show.
And so there were just very bad times because everyone else in the group that was connected to the group, they were going through their own individual hard time also.
Robert Joyce, a road crew member, said the trip from Madison Square Garden to the LA Coliseum was a mess. They did not have enough time to move the equipment. They had to use brand new instruments. It was stressful. Vernon Moose Constan, another road crew member, said Sly was too high on drugs. He could barely walk. He tried to play a new organ but thought it was broken. He called Moose on stage and blamed him for the problem. Moose pretended to fix it and Sly kept playing. But he was mumbling, and the show was not good. Stevie Wonder had opened the show and performed very well. So when Sly's band came out, the crowd expected something great, but the show had problems and the fans were unhappy. Sly started blaming the crew. When he got off stage, he pointed at Joyce and made it seem like it was his fault. Joyce tried to defend himself, but Sly was too angry to listen. Later that night, Sly came to Moose's room. Moose was sitting on the bed when Sly accused him of messing up the show. Before Moose could respond, someone kicked him in the head. A group of men stood over him, ready to beat him up. They hurt him badly, and he went to the hospital with a concussion. Joyce also got beaten up. He could not believe it. He had worked so hard for Sly and the band. He said that night changed his life. He lost all respect for Sly. After that, things got worse. The band flew to Los Angeles. Bubba called someone to meet him at the airport with a gun. He was ready for a fight. Larry Graham also had his group of people. It was like a gang war. At the hotel, Bubba heard that Larry was in the lobby. Bubba had a walking cane in his hand. When he saw Larry's man, he hit him hard with the cane. A big fight broke out. Larry managed to escape, but his men were badly beaten. People said Larry hired a hitman to kill Sly. The fight between them was serious, but Larry knew he was not safe. He left the band. Later, he started his own band, Graham Central Station, and became successful. He also became famous for his special way of playing the bass guitar. After Larry left, things did not get better. Sly's drug use became worse. He missed shows and lost the trust of his band members. Violence became normal in the band's life. Some members left because they could not take it anymore.
And we've toured together since Sly The Family Stone.
Money was another big problem. The band made a lot of money in the beginning, but things started to go wrong. Sly's personal problems made it hard for him to manage his success. Some band members said they did not get paid properly. They worked hard, but did not see the money they deserved. This led to fights within the group. Some members left, and some even took legal action to get their money. All these problems made it hard for the band to stay together. The bad management, outside pressure, and money problems caused a lot of stress. Sly Stone was talented, but he lost control of his own career. Instead of focusing on making music, He had to deal with gangsters, politics, and financial troubles. This was the beginning of the end for Sly and the Family Stone.
Was trying to destroy everything that had ever been good regarding Sly and the Family Stone.
The main reason was bad management. The people handling their money did not do a good job. Sly Stone also had personal issues that made things worse. Some band members said they were not paid fairly for their work. This led to many fights and even lawsuits. In the 1970s, Sly started a deal with Atlantic Records. He created a small music label called Stone Flower Productions. The label released 4 singles. One of them was by R&B singer Joe Hicks. Another was by a group called Six. The most famous songs were by a group named Little Sister. They released You're the One. And Somebody's Watching You.
Somebody's watching you.
These songs became very popular. The second song was special because it was the first hit song to use a drum machine.
He used that rhythm cage, which was the first drum machine to be used in that track. Till then it was use your drummer. But he laid down that track because the drummer wasn't there, or it was 4 a.m. and he had a great idea.
But for some reason, Sly lost interest in Stone Flower. He stopped paying attention to it, and the label closed in 1971. As time passed, things got worse for the band. Some members started missing shows. Sometimes Sly would refuse to perform, or even pass out because of drug use. This made it hard for them to get booked for concerts. Fans were often disappointed. At some concerts, people became angry when the band didn't show up, or when Sly left early. There were even riots at some shows. Many people refused to work with them because they were so unreliable. After that, the band could not continue. They had no money and could not pay for their expenses. So they broke up.
They were just very bad times because everyone else in the group that was connected to the group, they were going through their own individual hard time also.
After the band ended, the members went their separate ways. Rose Stone left the band because of her husband, Bubba Banks. She started her own music career and made an album under the name Rose Banks in 1976. Freddie Stone joined another band called Graham Central Station for a while. Later, he stopped making music and became a church pastor. Little Sister also broke up. Mary McCreary married musician Leon Russell and worked on music with him. Andy Newmark, the band's drummer, had a successful career. He played drums for famous artists like Pink Floyd and B.B. King.
So,
I'm going to rehab.
You're going to go to rehab?
Yeah.
So you are still using?
Well, no, but I want to be through with it.
As earlier mentioned, Sly Stone had a big problem. He was addicted to drugs. At first, he used them to deal with stress, but over time, they took over his life. His drug use made it hard for him to work, and it caused a lot of problems for his band. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, Sly started using cocaine and PCP more and more. These drugs made him act strangely. Sometimes he didn't show up for concerts. Other times, he came late or performed poorly. Fans who bought tickets to see him were disappointed. The band had booked 80 shows in 1 year, but they missed 26 of them. But he had a falling out with one of Sly's close assistants, a man named Hamp Bubba Banks. There were rumors that Sly and Larry were so angry at each other that they thought the other had put out a hit on them. By 1973, Sly's music was starting to lose its power. His last great album was called Fresh. After that, his songs didn't have the same magic. His fans noticed the change. His band was falling apart, and his drug use was getting worse. He was not the same creative leader he used to be. Instead of making hit songs, he was spending more time trying to get high. By the late 1970s, Sly was in serious trouble. His career was nearly over. He had few concerts, and he wasn't releasing new music. His life became a mess. He moved from place to place, sometimes staying with friends, sometimes in cheap hotels. He had problems with the police. Drug dealers took advantage of him. He went to rehab more than once, but nothing worked. He always went back to using drugs. He needed money to keep buying them, so he was constantly struggling.
And he also, he was indulging in a lot of stuff. And from what I'm told, there's a lot of times when he was just writing and on a jag and up for days working on a track, and then he'd just erase it.
During this time, a young woman named Hershkowitz met Sly. She was 20 years old and had never used drugs before. But after spending a few months with Sly, she tried them too. Being around him made it hard to say no. But Sly didn't just want her to be someone who got high with him. He wanted her to learn about music. He taught her how to work a mixing board and make music recordings. He believed drugs helped him stay creative, but that was just an excuse. The drugs were actually ruining his life.
Oh, yeah.
I know he was growing apart from the rest of his band. It really was just the Sly Stone show at that point.
Yeah, I think that was the beginning of it. The band was still together at the time, but definitely starting to fracture.
Even as his life was falling apart, Sly didn't see himself as a failure. In his autobiography, he didn't talk about his past with regret. He didn't say, "I wish I had never done this." Instead, he tried to explain why he did what he did. He said he kept working, even when things were bad. He didn't want to be the kind of person who just hid away and did nothing. He always wanted to create music, but he did admit that if he had known what he knows now, he might have stopped using drugs sooner.
So I'm going to rehab.
You're going to go to rehab?
Yeah.
So you are still using?
Well, no, but I want to be true with it.
Sly Stone faced many struggles in his life. In the 1980s, things started going wrong for Sly. He had problems with money and drugs. In 1987, he was arrested for using cocaine. After that, he seemed to stop making music and disappeared from the public eye. Many people wondered what happened to him. Some believed he had retired, while others thought he was still struggling. In 2011, news came out that Sly Stone was homeless. He was living in a small camper van in Los Angeles.
To tell you the truth, I'm there a lot because it's very comfortable for me, because I don't like to be in any one place under the circumstances.
This shocked many fans because he had once been rich and successful. People wondered how a famous musician could end up without a home. It showed how bad his money problems had become. His drug addiction also made things worse. Sly said that part of his financial troubles came from being cheated. He claimed that his former manager, Gerald Goldstein, and his lawyer, Glenn Stone, had taken money that belonged to him. He believed they had stolen millions of dollars in royalties. Royalties are payments musicians get when their songs are played or sold. In 2010, Sly decided to fight for his money. He took his manager and lawyer to court. He said they had tricked him and kept his earnings for themselves. His lawyer, Nicholas Hornberger, defended him. He said these people had taken advantage of Sly and left him broke.
I don't like to be in any one place under the circumstances with this lawsuit.
The case lasted a long time, but in 2015, a jury finally made a decision. They agreed that Sly had been cheated. The court ordered the people who took his money to pay him $5 million. The jury decided that Even Saint Productions, the company involved, had to pay $2.5 million. Sly's former manager had to pay $2.45 million, and his lawyer had to pay $50,000.
First, what's the first thing you do with the money when you get the money? What's the first thing you're going to do?
I just automatically think of my kids. Right?
Take care of your kids.
I don't know how we're going to do it.
Sly's lawyer said this was a big victory, not just for Sly, but for all musicians. He said many artists trust managers and lawyers, but some of them take advantage of that trust. Many musicians have lost money because of bad deals and dishonest people. Sly's case showed how easy it is for artists to be cheated. However, the people who lost the case did not agree with the decision. Their lawyer, Gregory Bodell, said the jury had made a mistake. He claimed Sly had already been paid $9 million over the years. He also said Sly did not follow an agreement to make new music. He argued that the money problems were not the manager's fault, but the jury did not believe him. Even though Sly won the case, His struggles were not over. He was already old and had suffered for many years. His life showed how fame and success do not always last. Even great musicians can face hard times if they are not careful with money and the people they trust. Sly and the Family Stone made a big impact on music. Their early songs were fun and full of energy. But later, their music changed. It became deeper, darker, and more serious. Albums like There's a Riot Going On, Fresh, and Small Talk helped shape the future of funk music. These albums were different from their early work, which was more about love and happiness. Instead, the new music showed struggle, confusion, and the harsh reality of life. People still loved their music, but it felt different. It was not just for dancing. It made people think. Rolling Stone magazine once said that Sly and the Family Stone started as a group that mixed funk, rock, and good vibes. They had a dream of unity and happiness. But Sly later realized that life was not so perfect. His album, There's a Riot Going On, reflected that. The songs were not as joyful as before. Some people thought the album was hard to listen to. It was not smooth or easy. It sounded messy, sad, and full of emotions. It showed that Sly was struggling with problems, including drug use. Still, it was an important album because it was honest. It did not try to hide the truth. Music expert Colin Larkin said that There's a Riot Going On was something new in black music. It had never been done before. Sly's new style also influenced other musicians. Jazz legend Miles Davis loved Sly's music and even worked with him. Davis changed his own style to sound more like Sly. Another musician, Herbie Hancock, also followed Sly's lead. He made his music more electric and funky. The album Fresh in 1973 was another turning point. It changed how people thought about music production. British artist Brian Eno said this album made rhythm instruments, like the bass and drums, the main focus. This was a big change in music. Many later artists like Michael Jackson, Prince, and Outkast were inspired by Sly's music from this time. Even with their struggles, Sly and the Family Stone were still honored for their work. In 1993, they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. All the original members were there, except Sly. But just as the band got on stage, Sly appeared. He took the award, said, "See you soon," and then left quickly. It was a rare moment for fans to see him. In 2001, they received the R&B Foundation Pioneer Award. Their songs, Dance to the Music and Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself Again, were recognized as some of the most important songs in rock history. Rolling Stone ranked the band number 43 on their list. Many of their albums and songs were also included in lists of the greatest music ever. Their influence is still strong today. Even though Sly faced many personal struggles, his music left a lasting mark. His later work was not just entertainment, it was a reflection of real life.